Hi, my name is Rahul Srivastav,
Okay.
and once again, we welcome all of you in our channel. Now, as you all know, that for entire banking fraternity, closing activity is about to close on 30th of March, because 31 being officially it's being Sunday. So literally only one day is left for closing activity, and once the closing activity is closed, audit is going to start from the first week of April. First, the audit is going to be held for the branches and for zonal office, and lastly for the head office. And subsequently, the results are being declared. So as of now, as you all are aware, that many of us as a youngster who are not having much of experience have been given the opportunity to work as a branch manager. But since many of us are working for the first time as a branch manager, there are many things which we might not be aware of how to do all what are the activities that needs to be done before audit, which are very important with respect to branch banking. So in today's video, we have a very expert executive with us, Veena Rao ma'am, who has experience not only in handling the branch, but also handling a bigger branch. Apart from that she has also handled a very big zone as a zonal manager. And that's why it's my privilege to invite her into my show, wherein she will be giving insights on what are the activities which needs to be taken care of before audit. So thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation, and for in spite of your busy schedule, you have taken time and have agreed to give insights on this particular topic. So welcome once again, madam. So before any further delay, can we start the topic?
Yes. Thank you, Rahul. It's an honor for me actually, and thank you for inviting me to Zoom session. In fact, I think I have seen many of your previous sessions also, and you are doing a very good job. So please continue.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I'm very happy. I'm very happy to share the experience, my experience, having worked in the field for almost 32 years. So what I will be doing is sharing my experiences in the branch and zone with all of you. So without wasting
Right,
time,
ma'am.
because we are short of time, we will begin
Mm.
with this session on how to go about doing the closing related activities now that merchant is near. So what I normally do is I split up the closing activity into pre-audit and post-audit period. I think in this is the pre-audit closing related activities that are required to be taken at the branch, right?
Right,
Okay.
ma'am.
So because post-audit is nothing but the downloading of statements. So pre-audit is very important because lot of data, lot of information, and lot of transactions have to be done by the branches. Uh,
Right.
First of all, the head office, various departments release various circulars related to closing activities. Each department has its own sets of documents that are to be audited, and each department therefore releases various circulars in which they give the guidelines, they give the transactions and data that has to be done by the branches for closing. In short, I will just read out the closing circulars that have been released by head office departments in this year. And I would request the branch managers through this closing circulars, which are very important. And if you go through the circular, you will be easily able to understand what the closing activities is. So I'll just read down the list very shortly. Head office, most important circular that is released is by Financial Management FMA department released detailed instructions and guidelines for preparing annual closing work. Okay, and this
Okay.
consists of transactions that are to be released by the branches regarding provisions, expenses, etc. The second circular that has been released or issued is by Credit Priority Retail and MSME Department. This is regarding preparation of interest subvention related statements.
Okay.
Third circular is released by Inspection and Audit Department. This is related to implementation of Jilani Committee recommendations. Okay.
Okay.
Credit monitoring it's a very important department. They have issued a circular related to preparation guidelines for preparing the credit sets. This is a very important set. Credit set, it consists of various UCC statement, credit mitigation techniques. Then it also gives details of unhedged foreign currency, whichever branch is having foreign currency transactions. Then recovery department, one of the most important statements you must be aware. Well, it used to be called as blue statement earlier. Now it is called as statement of advances. And this is the statement which actually is the heart of the closing because it consists of the information on advances and NPA and provisioning. So a lot of hard work is done in this, and lot of what we call fighting or arguments with the auditors will take on this part, statement of advances. Statement and movement. This is a very important statement. Then you have credit department regarding guidelines for provisioning related to unhedged foreign currency. Few branches will have that. And vigilance department, they require one statement to be submitted regarding Ghosh committee recommendations. So this is to be submitted online in UL6. They have given the guidelines on that also. And IRM department has come up with a circular related to risk-weighted assets. So this is a topic which probably most of the branches, they do not have to deal because it is all automated. The only thing is we have to feed the data correctly so that the RWA is generated properly. So these are, there are 8 circulars that have been issued, and I would urge all the branch managers to go through the circulars and jot down the points which they have to do. That is what we used to do. We used to number over that. ये मुझे करना है, ये 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the areas where we have to release vouchers. This year, there is a change in the provisioning actually. Earlier, all the provisions related to expenses like petrol reimbursement, newspaper, mobile reimbursement, then all staff welfare related expenses provision used to be done in the branches. But now, because all this is in HRM portal, head office has said that the provisions related to these are not to be done by the branches. So branches must take care that these provisions are not done at the branch level. All staff welfare related expenses.
So very important point to note.
Yeah.
Very important point to note that staff related expenses has not to be released at the branch level. It will be done centrally from head office.
Yeah, head office will be doing it. Yeah.
Yes. Next.
Next, one of the most important areas related and where a lot of mistakes are done by us and where head office also comes down very heavily on the branches and zonal offices is income leakage. So all branches should ensure that there is no income leakage in their branch. The income leakage, types of income leakages, I'll discuss very shortly. One of the most common areas of income leakage is process fee not recovered for non-funded limits, LC and BG.
Okay.
Maybe now under exim bills, probably if you renew the limit in exim bills, the charges, the process fee will be applied. But still, please check it with the circular of service charges booklet and ensure that the process fees is applied properly. And in the case of standalone BG, if the BG is not in exim bills, it is outside the exim bills. If the branches still have that, then manually the process fee has to be recovered. This is one big area of income leakage. Second biggest area is commitment charges. Now everybody knows that non-utilization of CC limit or LCBG limit attracts commitment charges. That is part of the sanction letter actually. This many of the branches They forget to take it or they are afraid to take it because their customer will start fighting with them. But you have to
Right.
convince the customer because because there is a statement of undrawn portion of CCBGLG in our balance sheet set. So the undrawn portion, on the undrawn portion, the bank has to pay 0.5%. And that is why this commitment charges of 0.5% is levied, because bank has to make provision for that, half a percentage. And that is why that is recovered from the customers. So commitment charges should be recovered by or non-utilization of limits. Slab-wise rates are given in the service charges booklet as well as the sanction letter. Please ensure that it is recovered. Then there is a charge for restructuring and revalidation. Many times restructuring and revalidation is done, but now I think that is not there, because if you restructure and revalidate, the account will be marked as NPA. This used to be there
NPA,
previously,
right.
but still, if there is any account which has been restructured, then charges have to be taken as per the circular. So these are some of the charges. Then your sanction letter that comes from head office or zonal office, you have to read it very carefully and ensure that all the charges that are mentioned in that are to be recovered. Many times we see that mortgage charges or surcharge charges, small amount are not taken by the branches. So please read the sanction letter that is received from zonal office or head office and ensure that all the charges written in that are recovered. In the service charges booklet, you will observe that it is mentioned that automated or manual. So wherever there is manual is written, we have to ensure that those charges are recovered at the branch level. Okay.
Right.
One big area of income leakage is application of rate of interest. Many times we see that the rate of interest applied is not as per the sanction letter that is received from the journal office or head office or your own sanction letter. Because in the case of cash credit, what is happening every year, I think it is linked to credit risk rating. So our risk rating, the customer's risk rating changes, and with that change, your rate of interest should change. So you have to ensure that the latest circular of interest rate is referred to in and the charge applied properly. This exercise has to be done. Actually, it should be done on a real-time basis also. But now that margin is there, please ensure that the rate of interest is applied as per the CRR rating linked rate.
Madam, sorry to interrupt, but this rate of interest checking and the checking of sanction letter has to be done for top 20 accounts or 25 accounts in that particular branch, right? Which auditor may look up for.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's a big branch, then most of the accounts will be big. That is because on a test check basis. But if you observe that the rate of interest is different in almost all the cases, then you have to, it is better that you check all your portfolio.
Okay.
So you have a balancing of CC report in your branch reports. What we used to do, we used to convert that into Excel sheet. And from that, we used to have just check the rate of interest. And if we feel that somewhere there is a difference now, then we used to check the sanction letter. Obviously, also many times just going through the balancing register also, you notice some of the accounts maybe rate of interest is very low. Sometimes you see 8 or 9% also. So that balancing book is there. I think balancing is there in branch report, CC balance.
That branch report
to convert text to Excel. Text to Excel we used to do, and just have a glance on the
So that will save the time. Every time you need not have to put the rate of F7 and check the rate of interest. Sorry, 10,400 and check the rate of interest. Every time you need not have to do it, simply by Excel sheet you can. Right.
By Excel sheet you can just. So that is one way you can do it. Not charging penal interest as to the terms and conditions of sanction. Some of the for example, review renewal. If account is due for review renewal, but the customer has not given your account statements or he is not submitting the stock statement, then we are supposed to levy penal interest. Stock statement, if you don't feed the stock statement, automatically the penal interest would be levied. But
Right.
if the financial statement is not given by the customer, then you have to levy 1% penal interest. So that you should not forget. This many times the auditors point out this income leakage. Okay, if you go through your inspection report also, in that also you will notice that this kind of irregularities will be there. So penal interest related to non-submission of financial statements for review renewal, any delay in review renewal, then you have to apply penal. So these are some of the main areas of income leakage, advances related. Then we come to normally what we do. The biggest exercise is related to review renewal of cash credits.
Right.
We have to ensure that all the cash credits that are there in the branch, these are reviewed and renewed properly, and the note on proposal and sanction letter has to be kept in the documents.
Okay.
The auditor will immediately, as soon as he comes to the branch, the first thing the auditor does is, before I come to this advances related data cleaning, I will give you an information that what the auditor sees when he comes to the branch. As soon as the auditor comes to the branch, you will observe that he asks for last year's statutory audit report. Then he will ask for concurrent audit reports if your branch is under concurrent audit. He will ask for stock audit reports. He will also ask for any other audit that has taken place in the branch. If inspection has taken place in the branch, he will ask for the inspection report. Now, the intention of the auditor is to check all these reports and see the major areas of irregularities that are there in the branch. From that, he gets an idea of what can be the observations in this branch. So all the branches, the first thing that you as a branch manager should ensure is that whatever audits have taken place, the observations or irregularities, it should be ensured that these are fully complied with.
Okay.
If they are not complied again this year, the observations will be there, and the auditor may also take a strong view and say that no, this account is NPA.
Okay, so based on that
may
also they
happen
can
because
do the
if we
NPA.
continuously, yeah. So it is better that we comply with the irregularities. So you have to check all the audit reports, especially the last year's LFAR report.
Okay.
And then the cash credit accounts are to be reviewed. The proposal note and sanction letter should be kept ready for the checking of the audit for all the cash credits. Then based on the CRR, the rate of interest should be stipulated in the sanction letter and ensure that the rate of interest in the CBS matches with the sanction letter. So this is the case. While doing the review renewal, you should ensure that the audited financial statements from the customer are taken. If he is eligible for GST returns, then GST returns also have to be kept on record. All of you will be aware of that. The documents are stipulated by head office, right? CRR, I think, must be done for 25 lakhs and above. Ensure that all the CRR are done. APR is also one of the areas where you can have an idea of what the status of the account is, because the information of the account is there in the APR. So APR is a very good credit monitoring tool actually for all the branch managers. The credit turnover in the account, what is the rate of interest, all those information is there. Sorry. Apply process fees for all non-fund based and term loans. Sorry. So nowadays, I think we are applying process fees for term loans also. So please ensure that the process fees for term loan is also applied. Sorry. Stock statements should be kept on record. One interesting factor about the stock statement, which I learned from an auditor, is that you have to compare the last 6 months stock audit report. Okay. Go through it. You will observe that some of the companies may be maybe putting the same amount again and again. The name of the same parties again and again, the same amount is repeated, which shows that they are not doing business and they are repeating the stock statement just like that. And you will find that the turnover in that account is also not there. So you have to read the stock statement and check who are the debtors and creditors and check the movement of debtors and creditors also. That also gives you a good indication about the status of the account. So stock statement should be ensured that they are there. Otherwise, the auditor might classify the account as NPA because 180 a stock statement that is not received for 180 days, on 181st day it will become NPA.
NPA.
So for non-financial reasons, everybody is aware. Yeah, you were saying?
No, that's what I was saying, that if the stock statement is not submitted for 180 days, then it will get classified as NPA, non-performing asset.
Yeah.
So we need to take strong observation on the stock statement submitted by the borrower.
Or the calculation of DP should also be done carefully. You have to check the debtors and creditors also, and just compare the debtors and creditors for last 6-7 months. Ensure that the same party's amount is not repeated regularly. One party ka amount, same amount is repeated regularly means it is above 90 days, and then the auditor might take objection to that above 90. Then insurance policies, as you are aware, we have to keep the insurance policy on record with valid period. So that also you should ensure, and ensure that the insurance is done for the entire amount of the stock or property value. Otherwise, in case there is an incident, then you get claim on pro rata basis. For example, if you have a cash credit of say rupees 1 crore, but the stock of the customer, you see he is giving stock statement of, in that he is mentioning 5 crores. But what we are doing, we are insuring for 1 crore because our limit is 1 crore. Now, in case some fire incident occurs in that customer's office or go down wherever, and the necessity for claim arises, then what happens? His stock of 5 crores is lost, but he will get insurance claim of only 1 crore because we have insured for 1 crore. Pro rata basis it is received. That is why we have to ensure that whatever is mentioned in the stock statement, average stock for the last 12 months should be insured always, not the limit amount. Some of the customers may be having more stock than the limit. That we have to ensure. Then you should ensure that the property mortgage to the loan, that is also insured wherever it is. Land cannot be insured, but flat and building, that has to be insured. So that insurance also, a mortgage property insurance or collateral insurance should also be done. For vehicle also, you should ensure that probably the customer may be taking the insurance from other companies, but a copy of that needs to be kept. Then there is a rule in our bank that search and title reports, every 3 years you have to take fresh search and title reports. So many times we see that whenever loan is given, the search and title report will be of that period. Please ensure that the search and title report, latest search and title reports are taken, so that the property mortgage to us, whether it is still in the name of the borrower, that can be ensured. The importance of valuation report. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Just one question, madam. The valuation report and the search report is valid for how many years, ma'am?
3 years. Every 3 years we are supposed to take search and valuation.
Okay.
So after every 3 years. Okay.
Fine.
And valuation report becomes very important in the case of NPA accounts also, because the value of your security might have deteriorated or it may have increased. So latest valuation report should be taken, and branches should ensure that the realizable value as per the latest valuation report is updated in CBS. That is very important. Otherwise, we will take the valuation report and keep it in the documents, but we will not update in CBS. Then it is pointless. Okay. And why it is important to update in CBS is because there is a IRAC norm that if there is a deterioration in security, the account will be marked NPA, although your account is regular in repayment. Although your account is regular in repayment, but the deterioration in security, I think it is 50% deterioration. If there is 50% deterioration in security, then your account is marked NPA. You must be seeing that many times LAD account is marked NPA. Suddenly it is slipping. That is because there is a deterioration in security. We are supposed to your FD, it matures, it rolls over, but in your collateral it doesn't roll over, and that is why that account is marked NPA. LAD also nowadays. So that is marked NPA because of this concept of deterioration in security. So it is very important to ensure that the valuation is put
in the system, CBS system.
Valuation बहुत important है, valuation report. Then आपको you know that G2 and SARSAI has to be kept on record. SARSAI has become very important nowadays. Valuation of collateral and primary securities should be updated in CBS as per the valuation report. The present guidelines stipulate that for NPA accounts over 1 crore, valuation by external CA has to be taken. So if you have a NPA account where the valuation of the property is above 1 crore, then you have to do the valuation from an external chartered accountant, not our panel advocate. So this is very important.
Above 1 crore, above 1 crore.
Above 1 crore NPA accounts. NPA accounts के लिए. Not for regular. Regular को you do your own panel advocate after every 3 years. So rate of has to be CRR. Repayment schedule for term loans, that is very important. The repayment schedule or with what you have put in the CBS, that you have to ensure that it is as per the sanction letter. Okay. Talking about repayment, one exercise that we used to do, what we used to do is in the case of EMI or even PED also, overdues divided by your EMI. If it is going about 2.80 or 2.90, immediately we would check the sanction letters for that, because if there is even a slight variation in the sanction letter and CBS amount, the account may be marked NPA by the auditor. You know what I'm trying to say?
Can you please repeat this point? Because there was an interruption of internet. Your voice didn't came clear.
So what we used to do, you have this balance. You have nowadays in SMA reports you are getting, right? 1, 2, and 0. Okay. In that, in the Excel sheet, what we do, we divide the overdue amount by the EMI amount.
Overdue amount by EMI. Overdue amount by EMI amount. Okay.
EMI का जो amount है ना, you have this EMI 1 or 2. And the EMI amount is there. So monthly you have to pay so much. Okay. So overdue divided by EMI kiya. If it is very near to 3, na 2.75, 2.80, 2.90, in such cases, we check immediately with the sanction letter. Because if the sanction letter stipulates EMI amount higher than what is there in the CBS, then the auditor might say ki nahi, your account is NPA. Because if you calculate with as per the sanction letter, you will find that your overdues are more than 3. So this will apply to SMA2. Actually, SMA2, what you have to do is check the sanction letters of all your SMA2 and ensure that the repayment terms is as per sanction letter. CBS and sanction letter repayment terms are similar for all SMA2. You have to do that, because any slight variation could lead to the account being marked as NPA. Because SMA2 is always on the borderline.
Yes, ma'am. Especially SMA2.
Important. हाँ, तो MOC में वो NPA ना मार्क कर दे कि तुम्हारा sanction letter में आपने लिखा है 10,000 महीना भरना है और आपने सीबीएस में 8,000 डाला है ना, और आपका जो SMA2 में ओवरड्यूज है 2.95, तो ये 2,000 पर मंथ ही विल कैलकुलेट राइट फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग। 40 मंथ्स 2,000 रुपीज आपने शॉर्ट पे किया है, तो वो ओवरड्यू बढ़ जाएगा, ओवरड्यू बढ़ जाएगा तो आपका वो अबाउ 3 मंथ्स चला जाएगा ओवरड्यूज, सो ही विल मार्क इट एज एनपीए। So for SMA2 you check that the sanction letter and the CBS data of repayment is proper. Those are the areas where account likely to be marked NPA. Okay.
Okay.
Then we had talked earlier also, compliances of all stock audit, credit audit, compliance audit, legal audit should be ensured. All the irregularities and observations that were there in these audit reports, you should ensure that these are actually complied with. All the notes should be kept on record. Okay. Then one important thing that most of us forget is you will see that once the account is marked NPA, है ना, once the account is opened, you put the primary security and collateral security, and then we forget about it. We don't change the security. Even when the account becomes NPA, we are not changing the security amount. वो वैसे ही रह जाता है, because जब account open किया है, and this is very true for smaller accounts, 5 lakh 10 lakh वाले जो है, मुद्रा वाले जो है, what happens is in the system, in the CBS or in your advances statement which is taken from the CBS only, unnecessarily these mudra accounts where the underlying security is not there, it is shown as secured, and when you have to do OTS na, so it becomes costly for the customer also to do the OTS and costly for you also. When the security is not there, it is better that you change the security amount in the CBS to 1 rupee. उसका advantage क्या है? It will show much true picture of the security position, you know, secured, unsecured position. All advances in the blue statement, they are classified as secured and unsecured. Any loan that you are giving, it is bifurcated into secured and unsecured. Why it is bifurcated? Because there is a provision that is to be made as per RBI guidelines. So the provision on unsecured portion is higher than the secured portion. So that classification of secured and unsecured is very important. For mudra or small accounts, why I am saying is when there is an OTS scheme that is brought out by the bank, many times we find that due to the secured portion of the in CBS, you are not able to do the OTS for a better value, truer value. So unnecessarily it is shown as secured. So wherever that mudra account becomes NPA, you change the collateral value or primary security value to 1 rupee. 1 rupee. वो कर देना चाहिए छोटे छोटे NPA accounts को एक बार देख लो. You check the NPA accounts. Wherever security is not there, you change the primary security to rupee 1. That is very important. Okay. Then LFAR deficiencies. There is a circular issued by the bank on 22 September 2021, where the auditors had said that there are deficiencies in the LFAR submission in the bank. So if you go through that circular, no, you will find the deficiencies that are there in submission that is mentioned. So by reading that, you can avoid those deficiencies. So they have given points over there.
Okay.
And this is more applicable to bigger branches actually. Bigger branches where the LFAR becomes very important actually. So the deficiencies that are normally there in the LFAR reporting, that we can avoid by going through this circular that is issued in September 21. This year, accounts above rupees 10 crores, you have to prepare a separate LFAR for that. It's an elaborate LFAR account where the details of the account are given. I think you are aware of that. Earlier it was 2 crores. Now this year they have made it as 10 crores. So any credit facility, any borrower having facility about 10 crores, LFAR account has to be prepared. And I would urge all the branch managers to ensure that the LFAR is prepared before 31st. Normally क्या होता है, LFAR audit का है तो हम लोग audit का बाद में करते हैं. लेकिन कुछ इरेगुलरिटीज जो होती है जो पहले करनी चाहिए वो हमको फिर भी याद नहीं आ जाता है. लेटर ऑन वी कांट चेंज इट. So I would urge you to prepare the LFAR before 31st March only. Instead of post audit, we do it. That format is given in the circular also. The circular
Okay.
has been issued by credit department. Okay. So these are the areas of advances. Some of the areas which closing activities have to be done. Then CRM securities. Are you aware of CRM securities? Credit
Credit
risk
risk
mitigants.
mitigation. Hmm.
So there is a risk weightage given for all credit. So if you have CRM securities against a credit, then the risk weightage reduces. So CRM security is nothing but fixed deposit, NSC, LIC, and other such gold securities that are available as collateral for your loan. It helps in mitigating the risk of the bank.
That's borrower. Hmm.
So
For
this,
the bank.
yeah. So the some of the securities, CRM securities, no, you can do correct the securities. You have to correct the value of the securities. What happens once we put the value initially? For example, if you have given a loan against LIC or you have taken a collateral of LIC policy, at the time of giving the loan, you have put in value. After 5 years, the value has
Increase.
security, so that the risk weightage is lower.
Hmm.
So updation of CRM securities is also one important activity of closing. Then bank guarantees are there. In the case of bank guarantees, as you are aware, there are two types of bank guarantees, financial and performance. So the
Performance.
classification of this is very important. So branch, you should ensure that the classification is done properly in exhibits or CBS wherever it is applicable. Then this is one of the very most common activity, cancellation of bank guarantee, expired bank guarantees. No? So expired bank guarantees have to be cancelled. This
Hmm.
what we used to do. Nowadays there is a limitation period of 1 year, I think. After the period of expiry also for 1 year, you mention a limitation period. So you have to keep the bank guarantee live for another 1 year. So you have to be cautious on that also. But once that 1 year is over, just give a notice to the customer to submit the original, and if the original is not submitted, the bank guarantee will be cancelled. So don't wait for the original bank guarantee to come. After the period is over, after giving 15 days notice, you can cancel the bank guarantee without any without any risk on our part, because that we have followed the process. So bank guarantee
Okay.
expiries have to be cancelled. Margin of LC and BG correction, data corrections should be done in CBS. Then there may be some accounts like LED and gold where your security may be nil. There is a report of CRM security. So in that, I think these reports are being pushed by credit monitoring also. So ensure that the security is not zero.
Hmm.
Then you have this commercial real estate loans. The classification of commercial real
CRE.
estate should be done properly. Yeah. Okay. CGT MSC cover. That is also reduces our risks. So if we have given a loan under CGT MSME, so that cover has to be entered in the CBS. If you don't enter it, unnecessarily the bank's risk will be shown as higher in the risk-weighted asset statement, RWA. So that we have to maintain capital, higher capital. So CGT MSME cover should be updated in CBS properly.
Hmm.
Loan and other loans also, security updation we have talked earlier also. What is the value? The latest valuation should be updated. In the
Right.
case
Right.
of big accounts, where their external rating is applicable, there the external rating should be obtained every year, and that external rating should be updated. So these are the areas related to advances. We have covered the topic of advances only initially. Related to advances, I would also like to just bring to your notice that the definition of NPA has been defined by RBI in its master circular. Okay, so they have given some 8 criteria under which the account will be classified as NPA. One is if you interest or installment remains overdue for more than 90 days, then your cash credit is out of order. Yeah.
Ma'am, can we classify it as you are telling about cash credit? Can we the norms which have been decided by Reserve Bank of India on the basis of which the accounts will be turned NPA? This all the branch managers should be aware of, right? Before handling the audit. So can we bifurcate it first? We'll be talking about cash credit as you were talking, and then we'll be specifically talking about term loan. So can we start with cash credit? What is the norms for cash credit? On basis of it becomes NPA, or it is treated as NPA.
Yeah. So first we will talk about term loan, which is the most common actually for all of us. We all know that if the interest or installment, if it's a PD or EMI, if the interest and or installment remains overdue for more than 90 days, so it will be NPA. So this is a very simple classification for term loan. There is no other classification for term loan. As far as cash credit is concerned, there could be various reasons. As far as the automatic classification is done in the bank, all of you are aware there is a report 7D. If interest is not serviced, then your account will turn NPA. Then account remains out of order. Out of order means overdrawn. Suppose your limit is 1 crore and the account is continuously overdrawn above 1 crore. So again, after 90 days on 91st day, it will become NPA. So continuously overdrawn. Okay. Now the auditor, when he comes, he can, for term loan, there is another criteria, not achieving of DCCO. DCCO means?
Commencement of business.
Commencement of commercial operations. Date for commencement of commercial operations. Okay. So for term loan, when you give a new term loan, you give a date on which commercial operations will be starting. So if you do not achieve that, again, there also account might be classified as NPA, although you may be paying the EMI. Not achieving the DCCO is one of the criteria. Yeah, in case of term loan. Normally it is term loan only, DCCO. Okay. Then coming to cash credit, continuously out of order, interest not serviced for more than 90 days. Yeah. Non-review renewal of the cash credit. If you do not review or renew the cash credit for more than 180 days after it becomes due, as you are aware, the cash credit is to be renewed and reviewed every year, right? Every year. If even 1.5 years later, if you have not reviewed or renewed the cash credit, the account will be marked NPA. So in the banks, this is done automatically. Now, if you do the renewal in the CBS, but if you do not keep the audited financial statements, the note on proposal, the sanction letter in your documents, and if you are not able to show the review renewal properly to the auditor, the statutory auditor will then mark this account as NPA. So you have to be careful on that point. You may renew the account in CBS, but if you do not keep the documents required, then the auditor is likely to mark it as an NPA.
And basically, madam, what are the basic documents that needs to be taken for cash credit account? Basic documents which auditor would be asking for?
Yeah. So the first document is one is the application from the customer for renewal of the limit. Okay. Then secondly, audited financial statement for the past year. Okay. Here we are presuming that when we gave the loan, we have taken the audited financial statements. Now, as per the guidelines, any limit about 10 lakhs, you need a CA certified financial statement.
Audit financial. Right.
Audit.
About 10 lakh. Yeah.
Audit. Any bit about 10 lakhs. So audited financials. So chartered accountant sign is very important. Okay. That audited financial statements will include the profit and loss account, balance sheet, and the return file, ITR file. Otherwise, only the return balance sheet will be there, but ITR is not there. That can also be the case. Then, if he is eligible for GST, then you have to take GST return also. That
Okay.
also
It is
has
mandatory.
to be taken.
It is mandatory.
Yeah, mandatory. So these are the main basic documents based on which you can do the review. Other than that, additional, if he is banking with other bank, you have to take that account statement. First of all, you should not allow him to do the banking with other bank, basically. But
Full banking.
like when you go on appraising, if any additional document is required, you can ask. The basic is audited financial statement, CMA data. CMA is one big this. That is projections for the next 2 years for CC. So these are the basic documents for review renewal.
Okay.
GST return, audited financial statement, and CMA data, and an application form. So these 4 are also, and B2G2 should be taken with every review renewal.
Okay.
Debt
B2G2.
acknowledgement. So these are the 5 documents. Yeah. Now, talking about cash credit, you had said about cash credit. One is out of order, second is continuously overdrawn, third is low turnover. The auditor may say ki your limit is 1 crore and the account turnover he sees ki he is just servicing the interest. He might take objection to that. He might take objection to that and say that no, this is not correct and this account is NPA. So you have to give a proper justification. So justification, normally what we used to do, if there was full security. So normally if the property mortgage is there, then we take that stand, no, his property is mortgaged and he has faced problems. So that is why we have renewed it. So while renewing, you have to ensure that turnover is there. If turnover is not there, proper justification should be given. But the auditor may classify the account NPA on the ground that only interest servicing is being done and there is no business because loss of primary security. He may say,
Madam, is it because based on the turnover only the working capital limit is decided?
Yes. See, we are giving working capital basically against the primary security of stock and book debts, right? Now, when there is no turnover in the CC, it indicates that there is no sales. There are no people who are paying him. He is not purchasing anything. So, the auditor may say that there is a loss of primary security. Primary security of stock and book debts. So where the deficiency, where there is a loss of primary security above 50%, the auditor has a right to mark it as NPA, even though interest is being served, even though balance sheet is given. He may take the stand that there is a loss of primary security. So you have to convince the auditor.
And in that case, if he urges the branch manager that, okay, you are telling that there is security. So you just tell me to go and just take me to that particular site and I just want to meet with the borrower. Is it allowed, madam?
You cannot deny him that. There is nowhere it is written he should not go. Normally, he should not go. Normally, the auditors, statutory auditors are not required to visit. However, if he does say I want to visit, you must take him. That is there written. It is there. It is written. So loss of primary security is a very important area. We should, especially this is very valid in the case of cash credit because we find that in many cash credit, only interest servicing is being done. We see that. So that you have to just keep your justification ready always. This is especially true for big accounts. The auditor will thoroughly check the big accounts where only interest servicing is being done.
तो ब्रांच मैनेजर्स को पहले वो अकाउंट्स निकाल करके रखने पड़ेंगे जिसमें कि इंटरेस्ट थोड़ा लो हो रहा है और जस्टिफिकेशन तैयार रखना पड़ेगा.
बिल्कुल आपका रिपोर्ट 7D जो है ना, ऑडिटर तो आपका रिपोर्ट 7D मांगेगा भी आपको. He will ask for that. You give me your 7D for the last 3 months, and then he will check those accounts.
Okay.
So justification you have to keep ready. In many cases, especially in the rural areas, because the customers do the transaction in cash, they do not do the transaction in the CC. They use it as, you can give that justification also.
Okay.
There is another area where the auditor may take take a harsh view. This also applies to accounts where the turnover is not there, and he will find that debit and credit entries of the same amount is there, or he may find that transactions are mostly of sister concern. अपने ही sister concern के transaction ही है. ऐसे केस में भी he may take an objection and he may write adverse. He may not classify the account as NPA, or debit and credit of the same value he may classify, because we do that, na? I think we used to do that. CC may available balance is there, but there is no turnover in the account. Then we punch the debit credit.
Right.
Turnover दिखाने
It's a normal practice in almost all the banks.
All banks, but that auditor has a right to classify it as NPA.
Since the turnover, actual turnover is not getting happened. Right.
Yeah, it all comes down to turnover in the CC account. There should be genuine turnover in the CC accounts, and the CC accounts are the main targets of the auditors. Most
auditors.
Yeah, CC account is the main target. That turnover they will check always whether there is turnover. If there is no turnover, then he will start grilling you. You see now this time also you see the account which he will target, na? So those accounts you have to check. So cash credit mein there is a lot of scope for marking the account as NPA, basically continuously overdrawn, and interest not serviced is taken care of by our system. But there are this loss of primary security, because we are not changing the security in the CBS. It will not be marked NPA. That the auditor will mark. Then again, debit credit entries also we are doing it. The system will not catch it, and the auditor might catch it. So this then non-achievement of DCCC also system will not catch it. So there are 4 or 5 areas where the system will not catch it, but the auditor might make the account as NPA. So these are the areas we have to look into, especially related to CC mostly. Term loan, everybody is aware of the concept of. Then another area is the concurrent audit and internal audit report. If the auditor finds adverse remarks, he may take objection to that and he may mark the account NPA.
Based on that remarks only.
Yeah. Stock auditor, in some of the cases I have seen, the stock auditor has mentioned that all the turnover is with the sister concerns only, and purchase and sale has been done from the same party. ऐसे एडवर्स कमेंट्स थे. सो द ऑडिटर सेड कि नहीं, ये सेल सब झूठा है और ये अकाउंट एनपीए है, इसको एनपीए मार्क करो.
मतलब वो अपने आसपास में वो पैसा घुमा रहा है अपनी फैमिली में. हाँ.
And then CC account को they will screen the account, they will check the transactions. CC का क्या है इसमें. Another area is if you restructure the account in CBS without preparing a note on proposal of restructuring, and he catches you, then he will mark the account as NPA, because that is also possible. We can do that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So many times what we do, we give TOD, EOD in saving or current account and credit it to term loan account to save the account from becoming NPA. If the auditor comes to know about such transactions also, then he may mark it as NPA. So the auditor who comes to your branch, he will be checking this type of scrutiny he will be doing basically.
They are already mastered in all these things.
Yeah. So the first thing they do is they convert the entire statement of advances into Excel sheet. Then they will divide the overdues by EMI. Wherever they find it more than 2.5, there they will start to check. फिर उसमें भी वो लोग काट छाट करेंगे and they will बराबर पकड़ो, they will come to that बराबर वही account के पास आएंगे जहाँ पे problem है. This is one thing they do. Second thing they do is sanction limit minus outstanding balance. Wherever they find the outstanding balance more than sanction limit, that accounts also they will immediately first check those accounts कि ये क्यों ज्यादा है. जहां पर भी sanction limit से ज्यादा outstanding balance दिखता है, immediately they do that. What they do, they convert the entire blue statement जो है उसको Excel में करते हैं. और ये दो करते हैं, overdues divided by EMI and sanction limit minus outstanding balance. इस दो पे they decide which account I have to check. तो उसके पहले आप लोगों ने कर लिया ये एक्सरसाइज, तो आपको भी वो आइडिया आ जाएगा कि ऑडिटर कहाँ कहाँ देखने वाला है.
पिछले साल मेरे साथ यही हुआ, उन्होंने पूरा वो एक्सेल शीट मेरे से मांगा, मैंने दिया और मैं सोचा आने के बाद आई जस्ट आस्क कॉफी टी एंड देन नहीं मेरे को ये सारे अकाउंट्स निकाल दो. मैं बोला ये सारे तो सारे प्रॉब्लमेटिक है. So they have already done their exercise from there only.
Yes. So the first thing is they will check all the past audit reports. Second thing is this ये जो Excel sheet है उसमें sanction limit minus ये and overdues divided by EMI. On the basis of this they will just prepare a list कौन से account check करने हैं. तीसरा ये साल का sanctions जो भी है वो देखेंगे. They will ask for the documents of this year's. I think that is what they do normally. They will start asking for this year's sanctions. Previous year they will not look into that mostly, but this year they will check the sanctions. So these are the three areas that they start doing, and from that they will prepare a list for thorough check. ये thorough checking उसके बाद बोलो. So main concentration of any auditor always is the advances portfolio. He is looking to check whether the system has not marked any account as NPA, whether we have hidden some NPAs. That is his exercise. Mostly that is what they try to do. First exercise is that. Okay. So their entire concentration mostly is on classification of NPAs.
NPA.
Now, other than the advances, should we move on to other than the advances? I think we have covered the advances portfolio very much. Still, yes, do you have any questions to ask? Huh?
No.
We have, I think, covered most of the areas. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I would request you to check the blue statement or a statement of advances of December. You have a quarterly statement of advances, right? Every quarter that statement of advances is available in CIMS portal. So that secured and non-secured, you have to check that actually. That, and from there you have to identify where you feel that this should not be secured. So I think advances we have covered. Big advances I am not covering big advances because big advances LFAR 10 about 10 crores. The LFAR form that you are going to fill, that will take care of the entire observations actually. Okay. We will turn to deposits and general items related closing activities. So in the FMA circular, they have given a list of activities that are to be undertaken by the branches, and they are very beautifully marked as yes, no. The only thing branches have to do is iska print out nikalo. Whatever is written in that, you just ensure that it is done and then mark it as yes, done. So they have very beautifully presented it. So, but still orally we will cover the most of the areas that they have covered in their circular. So the branches should ensure that all entries in nominal heads such as sundry debtors, sundry creditors, CHP, CHR, I think this is all automated now, but sundry debtors and creditors, as well as entries in subsidy reserve, interest subvention account, administrative account, and C2C related to revenue or capital item. All these should be ensured, should be adjusted before 30th. Before 30th only, actually. That is by tomorrow only. C2C भी you will see that in the C2C का ये मेनू जो है उसमें दिखेगा, responding entry का pending है, originating entry
Right.
आपने दिया हुआ pending है, so that you have to adjust, ensure that it is adjusted. Okay. Second area is profit and loss account and trial balance. So what I used to do, you know, I always used to compare. There were two comparisons I used to do of profit and loss and trial balance vis-a-vis last year at the same point of time. For example, 29th March 2024, I would compare with 29th March 2023. All trial balance as well as P&L. Again, I used to convert the text into Excel. Okay. And variation कहाँ है वो दिखती है. Then variation ज्यादा कहाँ है. तो डिपॉजिट में ग्रोथ रहना चाहिए, है क्या नहीं दिखता है. Advances may be same whether there is growth or not. Which area of advances I am lagging behind. And then other heads also कहाँ पे बढ़ा हुआ है कुछ. अगर कोई suspicious account है, suspense account आ गया suddenly कुछ. So all those things we used to compare with last year, so that where we stand vis-a-vis last year, that we come to know. For profit and loss account, it is very much relevant to know whether my income has increased vis-a-vis last year, whether my expenses has increased vis-a-vis last year. Then again, one more exercise, comparing today's data with last quarter's data, so that whether my expenses rise is commensurate with the 9-month period. कि 9 महीने के लिए 9,000 था, अब 12 महीने के लिए अगर 9 महीने के लिए 9,000 था, 12 महीने के लिए 12,000 होना चाहिए. अगर वो 15 हो गया है तो कुछ अलग अकाउंट हेड आ गया क्या इसमें, कुछ और एंट्री आ गया क्या. क्योंकि नॉर्मली एक ट्रेंड होता है कि वॉट एवर इज द एवरेज मंथली एक्सपेंसेस दैट इज देयर. सो यू हैव टू कंपेयर द एक्सपेंसेस मंथली एवरेज जो है लास्ट ईयर के साथ भी कंपेयर करना चाहिए कि कहीं हमारा एक्सपेंसेस ज्यादा तो नहीं हो गया. दिस you should do it on a real every monthly basis actually. But now also sometimes wrong entries may be passed by you. Instead of hitting this head, it may have hit another head. So to check that also, and to check whether your income has risen, whether your expenses have risen. If your expenses has risen, whether it is the correct reason for rise, or whether some other entry has been made into that account. All those things you can check. So a comparison with last year and a comparison with last quarter should be made to verify that the amount is consistent, expense and income. Normally, expenses should reduce and income should increase, so that your NIM, net interest margin, will go high. So I used to do that because our aim is always to improve the NIM. Yes. Then negative balance in profit and loss account. Agar hai to that you have to remove. And trial balance also, whether there is any negative balance in, suppose there is a debit head. For example, sundry debtors is a debit head. It cannot be credit, of course, but there are debit heads. If there is any credit balance to that, then you have to check some wrong entry may have been made. There must be no negative BGL also. Nowadays, I think that is taken care of, but still there could be some accounts where there will be negative balance. Then provision for expenses. Now, other than staff related expenses, all other expenses you have to make provision if you are not paying it in this month only. So those provisions also ensure that you are making the provisions. For example, rent hai, electricity hai, वो बाद में बिल आता है, टेलीफोन, कुरियर, स्टेशनरी, प्रोफेशनल फीस. अगेन P&L के जो भी heads है, whichever is going to be paid later on, you have to make a provision to that. Correct. Overdue interest is the provision for overdue interest has to be calculated. I think this is a very interesting topic of overdue interest, because what happens, we make the provision of overdue interest, but when that FD which is overdue is paid, we do not reverse the provision, and therefore you will find a mismatch between overdue interest provision whenever the overdues are paid. वो ओवरड्यू इंटरेस्ट का प्रोविजन रह जाता है, आपका ओवरड्यू डिपॉजिट पे भी कर दिया आपने, लेकिन ओवरड्यू इंटरेस्ट का प्रोविजन वो रह जाता है क्योंकि वो रिवर्स नहीं किया पेमेंट के टाइम पर. It is manual ना, that is why. So to ensure that whatever is the overdue deposits, the interest for that deposits only is there in your provision, nothing more than that should be there. If there is additional provision, you have to reverse it this year only. एक 10 लाख का आपका ओवरड्यूज है और वो 5 साल से उसका इंटरेस्ट है, तो 5 साल का इंटरेस्ट 10 लाख का 10% से कितना आएगा? 1 लाख इंटू 5 लाख का ओवरड्यू इंटरेस्ट रहना चाहिए, बट आप देखते हो कि 8 लाख का ओवरड्यू इंटरेस्ट बैलेंस है। इसका मतलब है 3 लाख है ना, वो 3 लाख का ओवरड्यू एक्स्ट्रा है, तो उसको रिवर्स कर दो। अननेसेसरीली कैरी फॉरवर्ड कर रहे हैं। इंटरबैंक अकाउंट, some of the branches may have interbank account, some of the branches जहाँ clearing है, so that has to be tallied. You have to take a balance certificate from the bank and you ensure that the interbank account is tallied and a statement is there, I think.
वो प्रॉफिट
There
एंड
are
लॉस
some
अकाउंट में दिख
expenses
जाता
which
है।
are, हाँ, there are some prepaid expenses. Some expenses are prepaid. For example, AMC. Many times we pay the AMC for 1 year, right? And the 1 year it will start in between somewhere 1 अक्टूबर 2023 से लेकर 30 सितंबर 2024 तक का हमने पेमेंट कर दिया, तो अप्रैल 24 से सितंबर 24 का जो पेमेंट है वो रिवर्स करना है,
ताकि हमारा
that
प्रॉफिट
is
बढ़े।
there है ना, you are doing it. हाँ, similarly rent, if you have made a prepaid rent or taxes, that has to be prepaid, it has to be put in prepaid expenses. Then one of the biggest items is furniture and dead stock. I hope you all have tallied the F&D statement.
मेरा
It is
टैली
one
हो
of
गया,
the
आज ही टैली हुआ मेरा।
it is one of the simplest statements, but many people find it very complicated. Very complicated.
वो बात
So
करने से
F&D
डर लगने लगता है।
and you have to punch it in ROSW, no? You have to submit it in ROSW. So तो ROSW में submit करके उसमें से generate किया तो then you get it is much easy actually. So whatever new additions have been made, first of all, what you have to do is you have to tally the additions with your GL head, your GL in the CBS. CBS का GL extract निकालो and you ensure that all the entries are submitted in ROSW. Once the additions match with your GL, then your headache is lower. The baki depreciation is taken care of by the system. Wherever there is a sale of asset, there it becomes a little bit complicated because you have to, I think, reverse the earlier depreciations and all those entries have to be made in the statement. So sale of profit has to be booked. Sale on profit has to be booked. So that sale on profit transaction, how you have to release, that is also given in the FMS circular very beautifully. Just follow the circular and ensure that if there is a sale of asset, proper sale of profit is booked and transactions are released properly. Okay. Then nowadays you have interest subvention of export, those entries, agriculture and MSME, that has also has to be accounted for. Credit department has issued a separate circular for that. Agriculture department will also be giving you a circular of how to release the interest subvention vouchers. Accordingly, ensure that the vouchers are properly released by you. All the releasing of closing vouchers should be done by 30th or 29th preferably, because if sometimes by mistake you give a ulta entry, you want to debit an account but you credit it, then you will, because I will quote one incident. There was one, it was around 5-6 years or 7 years back, one interest had to be applied to the account. Interest had to be manually applied to the account. Due to some reason, the entry was not done by the system. So interest was to be applied. Instead of applying, it was reversed and nobody checked it. Next day, the branch was in huge loss. It was a big amount. And it was a huge loss. Something like 5 crore का loss में आ गया branch. और day end हो चुका था. बहुत MOC वगैरह हुआ and बहुत हंगामा हुआ. Just because the entry was wrongly, reverse entry was made. Ulta. So closing entries, you have to ensure that it is done well before the closing date, so that proper entries, you can check that the entries are passed properly. TDS is one of the biggest and very complicated thing, I think. So you have to follow the circular, because if you are doing a provision, some of the provisions you have to deduct the TDS and remit. that you have to ensure that you have done the TDS provision on the provisions also, and you have to remit also.
No, but TDS
Similarly,
provision, majority of them is being looked by head office only. It is not made
yeah,
centralized. TDS का जितना
centralized
भी
है,
part है,
but
that
there
is
is,
not.
but I don't know whether there are complaints from customers. मेरा 20%
हाँ वो
क्यों
है,
काटा, 10
वो है, वो
नहीं, वो
still
उसके लिए
percent.
भी नहीं, for that also I am telling you get a report, ना, you get a report of TDS deducted, you get a
Projected,
report from day one.
हाँ,
So in that you have to again there will be one column over there, PAN number ka. So in that PAN number there will be 6061. So all the accounts where 6061 is there, you contact those persons and ask them to submit PAN.
because उनका 20%
वो
लगेगा.
exercise you have, हाँ 20% लगेगा ना उनको. So this is also, this can be done on a regular basis also. Now also you can do it. We used to do it. We used to call up all the people who had the 6061 mentioned in that report. TDS वाला report जो है उसमें 6061
Projected,
mentioned.
हाँ, date wise report.
Projected TDS है ना? हाँ,
हाँ, वही
projected
है.
TDS. Again that also we used to convert it to Excel. Then एक customer का 10,000 के ऊपर अगर है तो we used to check, है ना? So that is also part of the closing. Basically, ensure that the TDS is deducted properly. Wherever 20% is being deducted, please do call up those customers if the mobile numbers are there and ask them to submit the PAN. At least we should try that. And many senior citizens, they don't know, poor thing, they don't know, और 20% कट जाता है. Secure stationery hand जो है उसका भी provision, I don't know whether it is still there. Then leave without pay, leave encashment paid to retired employees, bonus, earlier year GST entries. Ensure that these are posted correctly to the GL heads that are given in the FMA closing circular. So if you post it correctly, it will automatically be transferred to P&L. You need not do it manually. You should ensure that the GL heads are selected properly while making the transactions. For all these leave without pay, leave encashment, paid to retired employees, bonus तो आजकल है नहीं किसी को.
नहीं बोनस नहीं, वो सिर्फ आउटसोर्स को है.
Yeah. So और कुछ manual entries are there ना, some manual adjustment entries are there for interest earned and interest expended, commission earned or reversed. Sometimes you are required to reverse interest to P&L, or you are required to debit the interest head of P&L. Many times you are required to do manual entries many times. For example, some customer is there, he has given a PAN, okay, PAN दिया है फिर भी आपने अपडेट नहीं किया है, तो 20% TDS deduct हो गया. Then he comes fighting to you, then you take out the form, you see that PAN is given by him. Now you have to refund the 10% amount to him. So how you will refund the 10%? So you have to hit this interest, paid interest. So ensure that the proper GL head is selected. You have a proper PL head for that. Otherwise negative balance हो जाएगा.
Right.
Again, these BGL heads are mentioned in FMA circular जो निकला है 31st March. So in that circular, all the BGL heads are given. So ensure that it is hit to that BGL head.
It's a kind of Bible.
Yeah, it's a closing circular of FMA and statement of advances circular of recovery and credit priority circular. So these three are the Bible of closing. You are right.
And
you said the right thing.
जिसने इसको पढ़ लिया अच्छे से उसका 60-70% काम तो हो गया.
60% काम हो गया, 100% करीब हो जाएगा. GST का you again FMA circular gives a very elaborate discussion on GST issues are there, so that you follow. I don't know whether now returns are not being filed in the branch, na? TDS returns, that is all centralized.
Earlier we used to do it, ma'am. Now it is centralized.
What about
earlier वो ULC में ही जा
professional?
करके हम करते. Profession tax up till last year the branch has to file. We had filed profession tax. So as of now,
So
I
that
think the
you-
profession tax needs to be filed at the branch level only.
That return has to be filed. Challan and all, you have to keep that also, no? Challan
Yes,
is paid
ma'am.
by
Yes.
you only, or
No, through branch
you
only.
are paying the challan?
Yes. It's paid through branch only.
Branch is only paying profession tax. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So these are the actually areas under deposit and general items related closing activities that are to be done at the branches. So you can share this with the staff also, with your colleagues and all.
Sure, ma'am.
And in the closing statement, in the closing circular of FMA, they have also given a list of all these statements that are to be prepared, like BS set, then credit set, then blue statement, MOC, annexures. They have given it, and they have also given from where you can download it, whether it is to be prepared manually or whether it is automated. If it is automated, from where it is to be downloaded, like ULC portal or CIMS portal, that is given in the FMA circular. So please do follow that, where it is very clearly given from where you will get all these statements. Most of the statements now are automated statements. So I think with this, by and large, I think we have covered most of the pre-audit
point.
We are talking
Yes,
about pre-audit, not the post-audit. Yeah. We are talking pre-audit areas we have covered. First, we discussed all the advances related areas, and then we discussed the deposit and general areas. So most of it is advances related. Other than that, if you have any queries or if you have any other issue that you would like me to discuss, just
listen, one more
can
thing.
come up with it.
All those accounts which are appearing in SMA 2 and SMA 1. So unka bhi visit karna, I think, is very important, and that visit report needs to be punched either in ULC or through our Arjuna, right?
Yeah, yes, you have raised a very good point actually. In fact, I should have touched upon that. All of you should in fact ensure that you have visited each and every account in your SMA 1 and SMA 2. Secondly, you should ensure that you have given a demand notice to each and every account who is coming in SMA 2. SMA 1 is a softer version of the letter, but SMA 2 you have been given a demand notice. So ensure that the demand notice is given. Ensure that the visit reports for all the SMA 2 accounts are on record. These are the accounts, SMA 2 accounts, which will be very closely scrutinized by the auditors. He will be asking for all sorts of documents for the accounts which are repeatedly coming in SMA 2. Your auditor is likely to ask you to provide SMA 2 for March, February, January, maybe from September onwards also. And if he finds one or some of the accounts to be consistently in the SMA 2, believe me, he is going to check that account very thoroughly. Those are the accounts he might target for classifying as NPA. So SMA 2 and 7D, these are the accounts that the auditor is going to scrutiny very closely. So ensure that all the visit reports are ready. Ensure that the activity is going on. If the activity is closed, but the account is somehow standard, you have to keep your reasons ready.
Okay, fine. And one more thing, madam. For housing loan, what are the basic documents that needs to be kept on record? Especially since I was working in Maharashtra for 10 years. So what are the basic documents that needs to be kept on record for housing loan that auditor might check?
For housing loan, or for that matter, for any loan, whatever is the bank's policy, whatever the bank's policy stipulates, that has to be kept on record. But generally for housing loan, you will need the original title deeds to be kept on record. Then you need the mortgage deed. You will need the legal documents, which includes the RF45, F260, RF4647, that is demand promissory note, then the agreement for term loan. But the main document will be mortgage. If it's a equitable mortgage, then you have it in 3 parts. There should be a declaration to mortgage. There should be a memorandum and there should be a confirmation. I think the confirmation is now discontinued recently, but
Right,
earlier
right.
it was there. So this 3 set should be there. If it's a equitable mortgage, you need a notice of intimation within 30 days. You need a survey to be done for that. You have to keep that on record. So the notice of intimation, survey, and the entire set of mortgage, equitable mortgage, plus the original title deed.
Title deed.
And original title deed sequence should be there. So these are the main areas. Then you have your note on proposal should be there. How it assessment has been. See, one area is the statutory auditor cannot question the appraisal of the bank. He cannot. Even if it is wrong, he cannot question the appraisal. That is not within his purview. Okay, how you have given this loan, that is not within his purview. He cannot question your decision. So whatever areas RBI has given him, that only he has to concentrate on. Even though he can see, so he will try to bring out some other areas, of course, in such cases. But he cannot question your decision to give the loan.
Right.
But these are the main documents.
Okay.
RF
Madam,
45,
last
F
touch
46,
upon
47.
last touch upon gold loan, madam.
Gold loan also is a very important area. I think he will be checking the gold also. He will be asking you to remove the packets and
He
physically
checks,
they will
madam.
be
He
checking
checks.
the golds.
He checks.
Yeah.
So
So then
before
your
that only
master
we have to ensure
circular.
that our packet and our register and our Excel sheet, I mean that report, along with that physical gold is getting tallied.
Yeah, most importantly, I think your document should be arranged ready for the auditor to be given, because it should not be like this. The auditor is asking for the document and you are searching for the document. Ensure that all the documents are readily available, especially related to this current year, so that as soon as he asks for the document, you are able to give it. So arrange the documents in the sequence of loan balancing, because he will be asking for the loan balancing or blue statement. He will go by the blue statement probably, and then he will be putting the ticks, asking for the documents and putting the ticks. So arrange the documents properly number wise. Ensure that the documents are shown to the auditor immediately. Gold loan, whatever your master circular stipulates, you need the valuation report of the gold valuer. Ensure that the valuer is empaneled, and market value and the whatever is the norms of the circular of lending. Ensure that the norms are followed, and your
That
security
also they
amount
check.
should be as per security amount should be as per the valuation report. One more area is about 22 carat, and I think that carat
18
wala
carat.
issue is there. So
18, 22,
whatever your
24
valuation,
carat.
24.
Sorry, 22
So
and
whatever
18
your
carat.
valuation, तो आपका your lending should be as per the carat that is mentioned in the valuation report. Otherwise your valuation report says 22 carat है और आप 24 carat का rate लगा रहे हैं, तो auditor might ask you to okay. And nowadays I think we don't have the problem of deterioration in security in gold loan, right? Or because the rate of the gold is not varying too much.
Yes.
So that deterioration in primary security should also not be there in gold loan.
Right.
Cash credit we हमने touch किया. Regarding term loan, especially current year, whatever new term loans you have given, ensure that the note on proposal is there. Ensure that the purpose for which the term loan was given, the assets created out of that term loan, the invoices are there, and your post-sanction visit report is there. The post-sanction report must mention that funds is used. End-use verification for term loan. For CC also similarly, end-use verification should be there. The end-use verification will be in the form of, if you take a quarter ka GST return, you can show ki yes, he has done the sales.
GST are 3, right?
Yeah, and visit report will always be there. So visit report is very important.
Right, ma'am. So I think, ma'am, we have covered almost all the important points by and large related to closing, before closing activities, that is pre-closing, and also what all things we need to do start of the audit. So I think with your vast experience with audit. You have been seeing all those cases. So we are really, really thankful to you, madam, for sharing your experience, sharing your insights on this particular topic, wherein, most of us are unaware of. And because of, many mistakes happen because of lack of experiences, lack of knowledge. So if somebody is sharing his or her experiences, then we should, we should by and large come in front of it, and we should take it. So I think technology, the use of this technology, because practically, physically, it's not possible to reach to all of us. So with the help of technology, it's a kind of just simply initiative to educate all our branch managers, all our credit officers, all those people who are interested in learning this. So thank you once again, madam. I hope that we all will be benefited from the insights which has been provided by you, and wish you all the best for your promotion to general manager. And with this, I think we shall close this session.
Thank you so much, and wish you all the best for your closing. In case you have any issues, please feel free to contact. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. It was an honor for me.
Thank you, ma'am.
So
thank
much.
you.
Good night.
Thank you for accepting and thank you for coming. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you.